Hi, this is Blockchain Brad. Welcome to another episode of the Sui Move Smart Contracts Development Series. Today, we're going to be looking at pattern matching in Sui Move. Pattern matching is a powerful way to write clean and safe code on in Sui. Instead of using a bunch of if and else statements, pattern matching lets you handle multiple cases correctly and easily. So let's see how it works. Let me head over to VS Code. So let's write a simple code to see how pattern matching works. So let me start a function. Let me write a function. Or let me call it simple matching. And you're going to take an argument of type U64. So let me match it. So now to match something, you have to use the keyword match. Just like I said before, match it's a more advanced way or better way to write if and else statement. So there are times where you don't need if and else statement. It's better use match, and it's more cleaner than to use if and else statement. So we're just matching stuff. So we're comparing values the same way each if and else statement works. So now how to match x to that value. So how to match x. So I'll continue the block. Now how to match x with a value. Let me call that 1. So if the value of x is 1, then I want to return, let me just return 10. I'll do for 2 again. I would say if x is 2, so I return 20, and else let me just put an underscore, and now let me return 0. That's now this returns something, so we have to pick it up or return it directly from the function. So I can come here and say let's let me say answer ns is equal to match. Okay, so now let me return that value for my function. It's going to be of type U64. Now let me return ans. So this is one way we can do it. I can choose also not to assign it to a variable. I can just get rid of this. Sorry, I can just get rid of this, and it still works. But let me leave it like this. Now let me write another test function to test out our function. So let me tag it tests. So this is how to tag a function we want to use for testing. Let me tag it tests. Now I'll just call it tests simple matching. So here I can say let's x is equal to 1. Then let me call my simple matching function simple matching. Let me assign it x. But right now it returns a value, so we have to pick up that value. So let me just print that value. I'll say let's ans is equal to simple matching. Now let me print out our answer. So I'll do debug print. So I'll print answer. Now let's test this function. Let me come over here and run tests. Yeah. You look at it now, it's printed 10. So this is a simple match. It actually checks if x is 1 or 2, then it returns a value. Then it uses this underscore. This underscore is called a wildcard. So it matches anything else. So just like your else statement, this is it. So now think of match like a cleaner if or else statement that forces you to handle all cases. So match is more cleaner and more advanced. So let's look at another type of matching. Now let me write another function again. Let me call this match variable, and also it's going to take in x of type U64, and I also want it to return the value of type U64 again. So now right now I can continue and write match. So I want to match x now. So now what I'll do right now, I'll write y and I'll return y plus 1. So now let me explain what's happening here. Here, y is a variable pattern. So it matches any value and lets you use it at the right side. So now it matches any value and let it use at the right side. So whatever x is, it adds 1 to it. So now, if I run this code right now, if I pass in 1, you notice it will print 2. If I pass in 2, it will print 3. So this is called a variable match. So a variable match means matching anything and give it that value with it. So variable match means match anything and give me a value to work with. So it's match anything and just returns a value to work with. So let's try to test that again. So now let me copy this and paste it and change it to tests variable matching, and let me change this function also to match variable. Now let me comment this out and let's run our test again. We'll see right now our value here was 1, now we'll print 2. It's our answer. So we notice we printed 2. Let me close my terminal. So another kind of matching we have again is the all pattern matching. So now let me write another function and let me call it match all. So right now I'm going to take a value of type U64 again. U64, and I want to also return a type of U64. So right now write match again. So what am I matching? X. So now right now I can match X to different value. So I can match X to either 1 or 2 or 3. So if X is any of these, I can now return this time let me return a string. So let me just return a string here. So let me just say something like matched matched 1, 2, 3. And matched 1, 2, 3. That's to string. So now I'll now pick up another pattern. If it's not match any maybe any of these, I can now write underscore, and right now I'll return let's say a match something else. So match something else. So don't forget this underscore is actually called a wildcard. Why this here is used to for like all statement, just like it's either matching 1 or 2 or 3. They can use this to match multiple value at once. So it is used to avoid repetition of code. So we should write something like if let's say this equals to 1, return this. So you can choose to match different patterns at once. So let me copy this again, and this time I'll call it tests or matching. So right now I would replace this function here with this, and let me try to test this function again. So let me run our tests. So if you notice now, it says matched 1, 2, or 3. Now let me just change this value to 10, and let's see what the result will be. So we notice it printed match something else. Another pattern match we are going to be looking at is the enum matching. So let me write the function and call it enum match. Let me type enum match, And then um right now, let me come here and create. Let me come over here and create an enum. So we call it public enum, and I'm going to call it status. Then it's going to have to be status. Then let me give the first one active, inactive, and banned. And this band is going to maybe take number of days banned. So let me know the type of use for. Um then also let me allow my stocks take the status. So need to be of type status. Then I would come here to match the status with different status. So I would say match status, and I'll create a block. First of all, I want to match the first status. This is going to be status. I think status active. Then if it's active, first of all, I want my function to return a string. Then if it's active, I want it to return a string that says something like let me just say welcome back. I'm going to convert it to a string dot to string, and also I'm going to take this was a capital letter S. So after that, I'm going to check match the second status again. If that one is false, I would say status inactive. This time I would say something like accounts inactive. That's to string. Then I can match another again, which is going to be my third status. I'm going to be status band. Then it's going to be to put in this joining of these bands, because you'll notice our enum here takes in use default rate, which is going to be this. So I could come here now and to print something like this. I want to print something like if we want to pursue this. So right now, let me just copy and paste a code. So let me just paste this code over here. I need to import my string from std. Okay, actually I have it imported also. So let me just okay. So right now, doing this now, I know it's kind of confused. Then I copy and paste it. I just want to confuse you about this pattern. Right now, what I'm just trying to do is I am trying to point out the number of days or tell user like you have been banned for so number of days. So right now, let me explain what's happening here now. Yeah, March shines with enums because it's one of these cases where I was my mostly use March because if you look at it now, we have only 3 status. So you actually try to match those 3 status, and with enums you can handle different variants easily. Very easy to handle them with enums. And if you notice now, in days now, the days here in the days band, it extracts the inner value, which is this days, and we can actually use it to do something. So this kind of matching is perfect for smart contracts where you deal with status like active, pending, and banned. So you do status. So let me like a test also to test this matching. So I'll come here and tag this again, tests. Write a test function and call it tests. Tests enum match. So I'm going to copy this and paste it match enum. Then I'm going to do the status Okay, so let me just give it status um active. So if it also a string, let me pick it up. Let me call it let's results is equal to enum match. Let me try to print out the results. So let me do debug print. I want to print an immutable reference of results. So right now, let me test only this function. Let me copy it here and come back to our tests. Let me run the tests. So if you notice now, we print welcome back because we gave in an active status. Now let me change it to band and let me put in 7. Let's run our tests again. Now if you notice now we printed band for 7 days. So that's it for matching. We see other type of matching again. There are several types of matching. If you come over to the move booking pattern matching, you would see a whole lot of them, but I'm just brushing through the basic the ones you mostly use. So you can still come over to the move, you can try to read more about pattern matching. So let me cover one more pattern matching before I end the video. So this kind of pattern matching, I'm going to call it guards. So going to be guards. So let me create a lab function again and name it match guard. Let me take in a value of type U64. So now what I'm going to do now, I want to actually check if a number is odd or even. So let me return this thing. Very match X. Again, start my block. Now I would say n if, so now I want to return that value n. So I want to get it if n modulus 2. I'm sure by now you should have known what this modulus does. It divides a number. Instead of returning the actual value, it returns the remainder. So if you divide 5 by 2, it's going to 2 places and we have only one remainder. So that's what this modulus does. It gives you the remainder, or sorry, the decimal, not really decimal, the remainder of a division. So let me say it equals to 0. For this now, I want to check. So I want to check for even numbers. So now if that's correct, I will now say be even number but to think else I can now say else just return odd number. Okay, found. Okay, let me change this now. Try to define this now. Okay, expected and immutable reference. Okay, coming. Something happening here. Found unexpected this, so all I just had to do was just to reference this n, because let me remove it now. If you notice, it expected a type of let me say an immutable reference of U64. Sorry, it found an immutable reference of U64. Why it expected a type of U. It did not expect an immutable reference or even a reference. So that's why I just had to like reference this with that before before dividing it with 2. So now what's happening is that I get my n if n modulo 2 is equals to 0. So if it is that, I'm going to get n and I'm going to print out the result that says even number. But if this statement is not true, like something like 5, it's going to come here and return odd number. So now let me write a latest again to test that function. So let me just copy this here. Paste it. I'm going to call this test match that. Then I'm going to copy this, change it, and let me remove this part and let me just put a value of 4 because 4 is an even number. So let me run my test again. Let me copy this and change it to test this function. So if you notice, we printed even number. So now let me change it now to 9 and let's see our results. Okay, so now if you look at it now, we printed an odd number, and that's pattern matching in Move. Starts with we start with simple literals, and we then tried enums, and we tried the odd patterns, and we tried the guard patterns. There are a whole lot of them on the Move book. Pattern matching makes your code cleaner, safer, and more powerful. So I advise you try to practice more about it. It might be confusing at first. Go back and watch the video and try to play with pattern matching. You'll see like it's open road to whole new things to do and makes your code very clean. So go back to the Move book, try to read more about pattern matching. There are some examples I could not give, so try to see them and now you can play with them. So that's it for pattern matching. If you have any question, drop them on the comment section or feel free to DM my links, my Telegram handles and my X handle will be dropped in the description below. So thank you very much. In the next video.